Yeah. All right.
Hello, my name is Henry Ryan, and I'm here to represent Shockbox Audio, here with my colleagues. I'm Zach Rizio.
I'm Ellie here.
And I'm Rachel Curry.
So, the first thing we have to do is prove to you guys why our problems were solved. In order to do that, I would like you guys to imagine that you're in our shoes.
I was right there.
To be in our shoes, I don't mean literally in our shoes, I mean to be first-time entrepreneurs. People that don't quite understand the in and outs of the business world, have no previous knowledge of how business works, and to come into this class with no previous knowledge. For our group specifically, the problems we had was with communication. We, not necessarily between each other as group members, but with prospective companies that we were trying to work with during our MVP stage. We started off emailing other companies to try and communicate with them to see if they would work with us more as of favors. But as some of you might know, emailing is kind of hard to communicate with people because you can't quite get your point across as you would like to. So our group decided to make the leap and go on a conference call with the company that we would try to work with. But thanks to our fellow classmates, both the conference room and our back storage room was taken. So Shockbox Audio got banished out into the tile hallway. And as some of you might know, the tile hallway is not very good for making a conference call. And during this season, it was play season. So we have kids coming in and out of our nice hallway here, singing, dancing, making as much noise as possible. So Shockbox Audio was huddled around the brand new iPhone 6 like a bunch of little penguins, trying to hear anything possible to see what we could get out of this phone call. Unfortunately, the phone call was just as useless as the emails we've been making all semester. This is why we decided to make an iPhone speaker case to help enhance the problem that we had found. And if you would like to pass this around, here's a 3D print of the product we decided to make.
Oh.
So it is a plastic iPhone case.
Yeah.
You flip it around.
Speakers here.
All right. The iPhone case has two auxiliary speakers at the bottom of the case. They'll be front-facing, unlike the original stock iPhone speakers that direct sound away from the consumer, that will plug in through the bottom of the phone through your auxiliary input. This will require very few electronic components that will keep costs low and revenue high. Our customer segment we decided to go after is 16 to 24-year-old iPhone users. Specifically this age range because this is the most people that use their iPhones for multimedia use. What I mean by multimedia is sharing videos, songs, and other electronic things that require audio with friends. And the 16 to 24-year-olds are most people that are in a school environment with other people that require a loud noise to share the video.
Amp Audio is a company that our mentor found earlier in the year. Greg Sligo found Amp Audio, and they are a company that also solves the problem of the poor iPhone quality speakers. They have a case that is not yet launched, but what separates us from them is a price, and that price is nearly $100. Their case is selling for nearly $170, while ours is around $74, $75. So that's what separates us from that.
So for our total addressable market, if we were able to sell to 135 million people, which accounts for all the iPhone users in the US, we would be able to make approximately $20 billion. But since we're focusing on the 16 to 24-year-olds, that's approximately 16,000 people in the US, we would be able to make around $2 million there because our case is sold for $75. Or that's how much our case costs. And originally for our minimum viable product, we created a Turn MVP. And basically, if you don't remember what that was, it was a landing page, and it would have a button, and it would say, like, buy our product now, and every time someone would click on that, it would calculate how many times someone clicked on it, so we would know, like, how many people would be interested in buying our product. But, like, we weren't really getting a lot out of that. Like, we knew people would be interested because we got around 45 clicks, but, like, we knew we could have done something better and we weren't getting the feedback we wanted. So we created a Survey Monkey, which was free. And using that, at first we just put the link on our Facebook page and other social media, and we weren't getting as many responses as we would like, so we sent out like a mass email to kids in our school and other people who liked our Facebook page. And as of last hour, we have 203 responses, and 9 out of 10 were positive, saying that they would buy our case, just with the condition that it has a nice design, so it's not like ugly looking, because I mean, no one really wants an ugly case. And also, it can't be too bulky because they want to be able to carry it freely or put it in their pocket. And lastly, it has to function correctly, which we would be able to do all through the manufacturing process.
Okay, so here goes the revenue. We start off with around $212,000 in year 1 and end up with around $872,000 in year 5. And this is based off our case being $74.99 sold directly to our customers through our own website. And that's going to be, starting in year 1, we make 2,830 cases. And we continue to sell them directly to our customers on our website all the way up until forever. But starting in month 9 of year 1, we're going to move into some local iPhone carrier stores and iPhone accessory stores. And that'll be in month 9, and then our revenue will increase continually. So this is our gross profit. And our gross profit is based off of our COGS, which is around $26. And this includes the cost of all of the parts of our case and the labor to make one case. And then this is our net income, which is pretty good numbers. And our SG&A, we are only going to be spending around 3% of our total revenue on technology. All of us are Apple users, so we all have our own laptops and phones that we can use, so we don't need to spend more money on that. We just need simple things like security and internet and other necessities. And we are going to need marine insurance, liability insurance, and property insurance.
So for marketing, we plan on starting off with banner ads on websites in the first year because they're the easiest to acquire and they attract the most traffic to our website in the first year. And then the second year, we plan on going to trade shows for the trades that are in our service, which would be for phones and phone carriers, to go after not only those that use the phones, but also phone carriers to see if we could put our case in their store. The third year, we would go to the magazine ads in the websites such as Tech and TechCrunch. And then lastly, we would go to a 30-second commercial on TV or websites such as YouTube or other multimedia. And then obviously continue with the mass emails that we sent out, such as with our survey.
We are a paid growth engine, so we focus on our lifetime value and our cost of customer acquisition. And since our case is $75, we predicted that the lifetime value for our customer is around 2 years, because every new iPhone comes out every other 2 years, and this doesn't include everyone because some people are still behind in generation, so they will continue to buy our old cases as well. But based on a 2-year lifetime value, it would be $150, and our average marketing cost per year is around $10,000. So we would have a cost of customer acquisition of $1. And we are seeking a $21,085 equity, and this would go towards our startup marketing costs, our IP, which is our design, patent, trademark, and copyright, and our startup inventory, which is going to be around $4,300 to set us up for 5 months of inventory. And then our prototype, which is going to include the 26 hours to make the case and the $1,800 to the electrical engineer. So in exchange for our $21,085, we are proposing a 10% ownership based on a post-money valuation of $280,000.
So for our exit strategy, at the end of year 3, we plan on selling our company to Spec just because they're another iPhone case company, and we think that they would be the best option in order for us to sell.
We want to thank you guys for coming out and taking time out of your busy schedules. We hope you see the full potential in our company. Thank you. We are Shockbox.
What's the value of doing a prototype at this stage if you're going to go right to production with 5 months of inventory?
So since we have the 3D print, these aren't the exact materials, nor are they applicable for the speakers. So a prototype would give us a chance to make the case come to life, to actually try out the speakers with the auxiliary speakers, and really show the manufacturers what we want to have done exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Just the order you're going to do things.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself from the competition?
So our competition, they have a charging case, so like there's charges and amplifies the sound, but it's $179, I think, and that's really expensive, while our case is only $75.99, but it just amplifies the sound. And since our customer segment is 16 through 24-year-olds, which is kind of like either kids who are in high school or people just coming out of college and they probably don't have like a lot of income, that would probably be like beneficial to them, just because they're not going to be really willing to spend all that money for a case when ours is a lot cheaper and it's a better option.
I was kind of shocked at the cost of the speakers, $6 or something. Have you evaluated the quality of the sound that they can generate?
We emailed a company from Icassio, Illinois. It's called Knowles. They make dynamic speakers, which are miniature speakers that would suit our case. And their speakers are rated by decibel level. And me not knowing much about decibel level, we had to email them to ask what this meant. And then they sent us a whole chart about comparing their decibel level for their speakers to other objects. And the speakers that we would use for the case, they said would be equivalent to a motorcycle engine at 100 feet. So like that would be the loudest it would be, but I don't know how factual that is. That could be them blowing smoke, so I'm not sure how.
You know what, you picked a good company because they make the speakers and the microphones for all iPhones.
So, you said in your MVP that you had a web page that you kind of abandoned, but you had a button that said buy now, and then you said you'd be out of stock kind of deal. And you said you had 45 people click on the buy now button?
Yeah, we got people to do that through our social media.
Okay. And how many people actually went to the web page, and then what? And then you said 45 clicked on. So what I'm trying to get is the conversion rate of how many people that went to the web page, saw something, and said, yeah, I'll buy that.
Unfortunately, like it doesn't really tell you how many people actually visit the webpage. That's why we decided it wasn't really a good idea to continue with and with the SurveyMonkey. So we don't really have those statistics, but all we do know is the 45 clicks.
Okay, so 45 could be an outrageously successful number. If you had 450 people go to the website and 10% of them said yes, that's a really great conversion rate. And I doubt you had, it's hard to guess how many people you had going to the webpage, but you may want to go back and take a look at that.
Is that webpage still in existence?
No, we had to,
We canceled it.
yeah, we canceled the internet.
We like
You
the
can always
survey.
put free Google Analytics on your website on each page, and it will tell you the flow, how many times each page on your website was visited and where the traffic came from, that type of thing. So if you've already lost it, that's...
Can you put your client acquisition cost again? You said you were going to get 2,830 customers in your first year. Yeah. Keep going back. Maybe the whole cost. You said you're going to spend $10,000 somewhere along the line. Okay, I don't know where it is. So yeah, you're going to sell 2,830 in year one. But then you said somewhere, hey, I'm going to spend $10,000 in marketing. Was that, did I hear you correctly?
In year one, we're spending $14,000 in marketing. That was the average.
Okay, so if you're spending $14,000 in marketing, and are you spending anything else in selling? Any other selling expenses in year one besides marketing?
No, that's just.
Okay, so wouldn't your client acquisition cost be $14,000 divided by 2,830, which is like $7 or $6 or $7 per client?
I did it over a period of 5 years. So I could have done it for 1 year, but I did it, so it's overall, yeah.
So overall, even if you did it, I would think you're gonna spend a lot more than $1 just to get one new customer. By the way, if you could do that, if you could get $150 of lifetime value to $1 of acquisition, that would be the most successful growth engine ever. Okay, it's 150 to 1. Companies strive to get 3 to 1. So your client acquisition costs are going to be a lot higher than that.
Okay.
Where do you plan to do the fulfillment for those 2,800 units in year 1? Are you going to, assuming you get a lot manufactured, so when someone orders on your website directly, are you going to be, you personally going to keep them in your garage and do the fulfillment and packaging and shipping and handle all that yourself?
We were planning on, for the first 8 months at least, just going off of orders from the website and then fulfilling the orders from keeping them in our house. And then after month 9, we're planning on moving to Gadget Bar. I don't know if you know where that store is. It's off of Route 14 in the strip malls there, right before you hit Eastern Avenue, I believe.
Yeah.
So it is a iPhone repair store, but they also sell iPhone cases. So we plan on to move in there because we've talked to them multiple times, and they said that it would be an interesting product to have in their store that would separate them from other stores. So we also plan to use that to fulfill all 2,100 orders.
Now, walk me through, there's 135 million Apple iPhone users, right? And I know you targeted 18 to 24 because that's the age bracket you're in. Do you know the demographics would make up of the 135 million, or 70% bought by people over 30, or do you have any idea what that makeup is?
I believe, if I can remember correctly, it was from around 16 to 35 was the majority. So almost right before middle-aged and teenager.
Like the
16 to 35 was 60% of the iPhones bought, and that 135 million was just last year.
No, I know that, okay.
So,
Okay, so
That's
you did segment,
yeah.
so you have some stats behind it.
yeah,
Okay.
and then the other 40% would be people over 35 that are buying.
So the use case for this, you said, was doing a conference call. You know, that's where the inspiration of the product came from. I don't know too many 16 and 24-year-olds that spend a ton of time on conference calls. So there's a mismatch between your customer segment and the use case there. Now, so you guys, I get it. If the use case is to listen to music, then I get that that matches up with your target market. And I can see this being a great way to listen to music. You know, if you're at a party and you just want to put it up, and if it sounds like motorcycle engines, that's pretty good. But I would imagine there's a whole broader customer segment here about people that are now using this for conference calls, which is, you know, 30 to 50-year-olds.
Our target market would use that a lot as well.
Yeah.
I use
Right.
it twice today.
Right, and it's always frustrating, but you're targeting a different market, and I think you missed it a little bit. 60% of the iPhone users are in that age bracket. It's just a question.
Yeah.
What impact is it, right?
Yeah, like we were originally thinking of doing like 2 separate, like having like a gap between like that. But like since our competitor AMP, like we felt that like 35 through 50-year-olds, they may like have more money at the time, and they'd be more willing to purchase AMP's product over ours, just because they'd probably be able to afford it, and they would get the extra benefit of being able to charge it, even though it's $100 more.
Guys, you know, don't freak out too much about it. If there's 135 million units out there, let them have their share, you'll take your share, and you can make a lot of money in this.